dream of a classroom where learning is natural? Can we inspire students to lifelong learning? What exactly is the purpose of an education? Inspiring students to be curious, independent, creative, innovative, deep thinking, confident, proactive, collaborative, determined, educated. Rise to the challenge of changing the world. This is teaching. This is learning. This is who we are. Welcome to the Tabletop Inventing Podcast.
Our guests today are Meg Backus and Geoff Millener from the 4th Floor Library Makerspace in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Meg earned her Master's of Library Science from Syracuse University. For the past 2 years, she has worked as the Systems Administrator and Chief Maker at the Chattanooga Public Library, where she leads the 4th Floor Makerspace project. Meg loves to read and perhaps above all else is committed to remaining open to new experiences. Geoff was born in New Zealand, raised in Tennessee, and educated in Massachusetts. He attended Amherst College, where he spent a great deal of time reading, writing, and being cold. He has since returned to Chattanooga, where he is employed by the Mozilla Foundation, working to bridge the digital divide through coordinating the Gigabit Community Fund projects and building a Hive learning community. So we got talking because I ran into this guy at the 3D Printer World Expo out in Burbank, and he mentioned Chattanooga, and I thought, what in the world could possibly be in Chattanooga?
Yeah.
Because I was in Chattanooga, 20 years ago, and Chattanooga's always been a cool place, but
20 years ago, so much.
Okay, maybe. The downtown was just starting
Yeah.
to pick
And
up. The art district, like Rembrandt's and some of the places over there, they just renovated that.
Yeah.
And
Wasn't the aquarium about 20 years ago? Not even close.
It is a little, I think it's 91. It has been just over 20 years, kind of this Chattanooga Renaissance. This idea, we were a post-industrial southern town. There are a lot of them. We're the one with a gigabit internet network, now, fiber network now. That for 20 years, Chattanooga, every sort of, everyone who's been in charge, the people who come here, has been, how do we make Chattanooga a better place? And it is like I said, it's an exciting time to be in Chattanooga. It is a really cool place now, and it's crazy. I grew up here. That I get people up on the floor that I run into who are here on vacation, or who are this is their tourist destination. I had a couple from New York the other day who were just so excited to be at the Chattanooga Public Library, and that's a really good feeling that we're doing some things right.
Yeah, I just had to write the policy for how a hotel key can be a guest pass to use the tools at the library. So there's like just kind of goofy stuff that comes up because we're getting a lot of attention.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to shift gears a little bit and ask you guys sort of the core philosophy here, because one of the questions we like to really ask is, what is the purpose of an education? And you guys are in a unique position to talk about that.
Well, I have an instant answer. The purpose of an education is to liberate people, or there should be like a freeing effect of education. And so I think of this space, or the resources that are available through the library, as being resources that give people more agency, or more options, or more opportunities. And I think one of the big struggles is that people are just this time, this political and economic time is a real struggle for people. People are really worker productivity is continued to increase for the past 30 years. Wages have remained flat. So those things matter when it comes to how free are we to pursue our ideals and our interests. That's where the library comes in, is serving. Of course we serve all those real, I need a job and I want to make my own business, or of course we serve those urgent day-to-day needs, but then we also like to like libraries are the place where you open the box. That there's all these black boxes all around you. How does a caterpillar become a butterfly? How does a computer work? Whatever. Like every system that you see the input and you see the output, the library is there to help you see what's going on inside of that. And so to me, that's a very, like, that should be a really, liberating experience to open the box and mess around a little bit.
For me, the other part of it, and sometimes, a space that looks like this, that's called a library, gets a little bit of criticism, where the books, where the things that, it's not serious, it's not doing the things that libraries should be.
It isn't serious when we strap on a SnoriCam and go floating around the library on a scooter.
Exactly. And I remember this, it was a high school English class where a teacher of mine had us write on a film. And after we'd all turned our papers, he talked to us he said he was incredibly disappointed that essentially every single one of us, in comparing this film to the book, had said, the book is educational, it's, of course the book is better, etc. And he said that's just, you're underselling books. They're entertaining too. It should be fun. It should be entertaining. And so, we do the serious stuff up here too, just like there are in books, but we do the fun stuff.
But to also to treat books as if they're like somehow in danger unless we really protect them is also underselling books. Like, we don't have to put them in a glass cage and make sure nothing gets, like,
idea of what
books are great.
A library and a book really are.
Well, I like what you guys just brought up, though, and that is that learning has this fun component. And it seems obvious once you get to a certain point in your life that learning is fun. When you get past all of the stuff you have to do, and suddenly you learn because you enjoy learning. You read books because you enjoy reading books. So after trudging through, 8 years of school, and then 4 years of school, and then 4 years of college, and maybe grad school. But I think maybe I would have gotten a lot more out of my education had I had a few more spaces like this, because I love to build. I've always gotten lost in the idea of putting something together with my hands. Some of my favorite classes in high school were my shop classes. I mean, I did fine in math and science. Obviously, I went on and got a degree with that. But after I got out and started working, what a typical job, I found out what I really liked to do was to build things. That's really what I love to do, was to build things. And the problem is we've undersold that too. That the learning of the practical skills as a way to learn.
Neil Gershenfeld is the director of the Center for Bits and Atoms at MIT, where Fab Labs come from, and he says something like making physical things and the skills involved in this was rejected as an illiberal art, that it was too practical. It was thought to be done out of necessity in exchange for money, and that the liberal arts are not that. They're about these higher things than just the sort of business of living. And so he says that these makerspaces, these Fab Labs, are sort of correcting this historical error that making things it's not in this separate category. It's as much playful and learning and serious. And I love with the technology, you see things being made that have no market. It's a market of one, and it's a nutty little thing.
There's you kind of spoke about it a little bit earlier, but kind of the populist nature of 3D printing in general, that the purpose, it can be for one person. It can be for no reason at all.
And you were saying, like, it's a mode of expression.
Yeah. To me, something you said the other day, actually, about kind of we were talking about 3D printing and kind of what our role is. And it's, the library is this entryway that we provide that first step, not just to what you can do, but also to the fun components. And for the people who did this, more traditional methods might not take them to what it is that they love doing or are good at doing or want to do, that we can be that entryway too, which is fun. Seeing the kids who respond to something like the nebulous idea of computer science, doesn't work for them, but seeing what goes into getting something to print on that 3D printer, and their eyes light up, and that's what they want to do. It's awesome.
Well, we certainly see that in our classes.
Yeah.
You have the opportunity to see that this afternoon.
Yeah, that was
what
really
we're doing. We get a completely different level of interaction with the learning when kids put their hands on it and don't get told that you shouldn't do it that way, or there's a better way to do it, or maybe there's. I mean, they do all kinds of impractical things, but the things they learn along the way to these impractical ideas are very applicable, because, I mean, we use the Arduino electronics, the same as you guys do. We use 3D printers, and they'll print some of the craziest stuff. I mean, what would you need a troll with a Tyrannosaurus Rex head? A Trollosaurus. Why would you need that? But for some reason, that's a gateway for them, because it's a little bling to put on their thing. But along the way, they have to, learn how to set this thing up, and whether you lay it on its back or stand it up, or whether there's more or less support material.
Yeah.
And there's all these other physical parameters that are being learned while they're doing just even a simple thing such as downloading something from Thingiverse, putting it on a 3D printer and printing it. And that's just the beginning. I mean, then there's all the learning of the
my favorite
and,
part of the whole, 3D printing, the thing that I get the most excited about is just how as soon as I started having access to one, I started seeing the world differently. That any problem, there's now this whole new sort of wing of ideas about how you have a book list, I want to read these books, and you have your to-do list of, now there's a 3D printing list, I need to design this and this and this and this because I have all of these spaces that need stuff.
One of our patrons, Ezra, who's amazing in all kinds of ways, one of the things he designs and then uses our printers for are these accessibility devices, and that's one of those where there's no market for something, it's so specific. He did the other day, he has a disabled client, I guess, who her microwave, the microwave button, she can't push with her hands. She would have to hold pencils between her wrists to be able to, work the button. So he designed a bigger button that can be, set down on the countertop, and she can now open up her microwave. That is one, for her, that's an incredible thing, and it's 40 cents worth of plastic, and it didn't exist before, Ezra went ahead and printed it up.
Yeah, I love that someone is then, actually in this really practical way, more, well, I guess you could say even, more, she experiences her agency, or she is more sort of on the same footing as the rest of us because she has a really good public library.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yes.
Well,
exactly.
But you're more interested in, we're also interested in education. We also get really hot for libraries.
So many opportunities here, though. I mean, because immediately what pops to my mind is, you have so many kids through, and you have this guy Ezra. I mean, it's only a matter of time before a group of kids bumps into him, and someone says, "Wow, you mean you can change someone's life that much?"
Yeah.
And kids
Or
start learning to
Hive
design or something.
Education network puts together events to get those people in the same room.
Well, we've got him teaching. He taught this morning. We've already put a group of kids around him,
He's awesome.
and they do 3D design and 3D printing, but then they also do really low tech, toy hacking, kids with no arms, let's chop the arms off Woody dolls and give them toys that look like them, or it's all over the place. But for sure, this is the place where those kinds of things can happen.
And it's just such an exciting idea of what a library is.
Yeah. And getting a group of kids to think about and care about the experience of having no hands or these different accessibility, that's huge.
Well, the interesting thing about this conversation is I've been listening and participating a little bit, and now what occurs to me is that we're actually talking about exactly why maker education matters.
Right. It's not the we're not talking about the technology. We're talking about these really human things and being like good people. Like, we're also the humanities people.
Yeah, you did get the two. For whom that is
The bias.
yes, but I tend to nod at a lot of things Meg has to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is. It's not, and that's, the technology itself is cool and exciting, but it's everything that surrounds it.
Well, helping someone understand what maker education is you have to feel it almost. It's hard to talk about it. It's hard. I mean, we can say things, and I explain maker education so many times in so many different ways to people on a regular basis. But in a conversation like this, it just happens so naturally that, some guy comes in to solve a problem that he has for clients, and, like 2 or 3 months later, he's over here teaching kids, to, how to do toy hacking so that toys look and feel more accessible to kids who might have some disability. I mean, where else would those kids have that kind of real experience and then actually go out and do something that might really make a difference to someone? And maker education just gives us, and I say maker education, I always throw the education on the end because we're really into education, but just making in general, the whole maker movement is this place where it brings together all these different sectors of society to change the world in ways that matter, not just to everybody, but to one person here, one person here, one person here, where it can be very personal.
Have you run into that Not Impossible Labs?
I just showed a film this morning to the kids in the class, the Daniel story where he flew over to Africa. I think that's fantastic. I mean, I never know how much kids get in the class when we show videos and things like that, and they went back to what they're doing. But I think those things stick. Those ideas, we just have to keep populating them. But I mean, I'd love to get a group of kids around people just like that who are doing stuff.
Yeah, I'm curious always, so this idea of self-directed learning, one of the struggles is that nobody's sort of trained in it. That business of people not getting maker education, sometimes you watch parents with their kids, and it is not a habit to work through something on their own, and they look to us all the time, what's the next step? How exactly do I do this? I'm like, we gave you a computer. Go on the internet. We don't know. We're doing it too.
That is sort of something that I certainly had to adjust to up here. I don't have answers to lots of the questions. There's a lot that I've learned just by having to do it, and the first patron who had questions about it, or, I talked about our artist using the vinyl cutter earlier. That was my breaking in period for that, and I learned so much more from them with can I do this? I guess we can try, kind of thing. So it being that you don't have to be an expert, I guess, to be able to get people where they want to be, that you're an advocate and you provide access to it, and that can be enough.
I think it's going to be a culture shift over time. It's just going to take some time for this to filter down to to the average person, for this to be a habit, to wander by the library, once a month or a couple of times a month or several times a week or whatever. What I'd love to see is what happened in our class. We got this story today. Actually, maybe it was a couple of days ago. There's a girl in our class. Her name is Gabrielle, and she came home after the first day or two of the class and told her dad these cool things that she was doing in the class, and his eyes lit up, and he disappeared and ran upstairs and came back with an Arduino kit, and he probably got this a year or two ago, and because he's an engineer and he just loves to geek out on stuff like this, and it completely gave him a different vocabulary in which to communicate with his daughter. She's maybe 10 or 11. And so they're sitting at the kitchen table, playing with this Arduino set, for several hours in the evening, connecting at a level that they hadn't connected before. And that's what I would like to see for the average person around maker education. I just think it'll take a little bit longer, like you said, for the parents to get past this, well, I gave you a computer mentality, to, oh, well, I can make something too, and I don't need to be an expert. Maybe we can go find out together.
It's for sure culture, big cultural shift, and that's, I mean, really, that's the big challenge with getting maker education in school, is that it's not just a set of devices that you can move into a classroom.
No, it isn't. It isn't
It's
at
a
all.
whole cultural shift with how how teachers relate to students and students to other students.
And how teachers are allowed to interact with their technology, and the technology, the IT folks in the schools. I mean, there's a whole conversation that has to occur, and it is a big shift, and it isn't going to happen immediately. I think it's going to take time. But I'm really excited because I see people like the teacher that was in our class pushing back a little bit on the system to see where it gives, where it flexes, and actually changing, bringing things in, trying it, making bridges to the IT department, and getting them involved, and getting them excited. Mm-hmm. Because I think IT geeks, when they actually get their hands on it, most of them get pretty excited about this kind of thing if they actually get involved.
Yeah.
And so I think one of the big lessons there is just to get more people involved in the space.
The nice thing is that the ethic of a space like this hack, open the box hack stuff, it applies so easily to these different systems, even these human-made systems like education. Let's hack the schools, let's hack, right?
Exactly.
Open this up and see how this is actually working, and then see where we can start tweaking and tinkering and get things to work differently. It's a nice, the ethic translates well.
Well, guys, we could probably talk about this all night. We really could. You don't have to put me under a spotlight and ask me nasty questions to get me to talk about maker education. I absolutely love this topic. So, but we should probably let you guys go home eventually. Thank you guys for taking some time out of your schedule to talk to us about the space, showing us around. This is a lot of fun.
Thank you. It was fun. It was exciting just to kind of wander into what you guys were doing earlier today.
Yeah.
I hope I was an okay judge.
Thanks for being a good sport.
Excellent.
With the SnoriCam.
Oh, that was fun. This whole thing is about trying new things, and you do feel uncomfortable sometimes. A little weird to have a camera at my back, looking over, and I didn't know what it was filming actually, so I kept shifting around. I wasn't quite sure if it was I kind of knew it was filming over here, but I wasn't quite sure. That was fun. I actually am looking forward to looking at the footage to see what it looks like.
Yeah, we'll stay in touch. Good luck with all your stuff.
Oh, we will be in touch. We'd very much like to come back to Chattanooga next year. I think this is going to be a fun place to come back and do it with you. I think we will fit very, very well.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, guys.
Nice, thanks.
Thank you for joining us for the Tabletop Inventing Podcast, where we are seeking to answer the question, what is the purpose of an education? You can connect with us on Facebook.com/Tabletop Inventing or on Twitter @TTInvent. To learn more about tabletop inventing, visit our website at www.ttinvent.com. Join us again next time when we will again seek to answer the question, what is the purpose of an education?